How to turn off the arc fault breaker without turning off the arc fault breaker. Of course, one way would be to short out the hot wire on the ground, but we're not going to do that because that burns the wire, wears out the breaker, and scares the hell out of the customer. Okay, so the trick is we're going to take the ground wire and the neutral wire and touch them together. But hey, I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm just saying if you accidentally do this, you're going to need to go to the breaker and turn it back on. And don't forget, when it's in the trip position, you need to turn it fully off before you turn it back on. So if you're like me and you're too lazy to walk to the panel and you just like to turn the wall switch off while you change a light fixture out, just watch out, this could happen to you. I wouldn't want you to take the light fixture completely apart thinking one of the wires came loose. Hey guys, jump in the comments and let me know what you think. Roast me, toast me, flip me upside down, or just let me know what other videos you want to see. Funny thing is, when I was younger, I thought Taco Bell was Mexican food. If you do electrical work and you haven't yet installed a light from China, oh, don't worry, you will. But I gotta warn you, China doesn't use the same colors for hots and neutrals as the United States. Right now, I'm gonna show you what to expect. First, let's remove the old light. This little package of parts, you won't need it. First, we will unscrew the base plate. See, China uses blue and brown, but which one is the hot and the neutral? The brown wire is the hot and connects to the black wire. The blue wire is the neutral and connects to the white wire. And of course, the last two wires are the ground wires. Okay, next let's screw on the base. Then push all the wires into the box. It's time to carefully unwrap. Today we went with a daylight color bulb so she can better see the vibrant colors in her outfits. 25 things I wish my apprentice knew. How to hold the drill when working hot. Now I'm not saying if you're new to electrical that you should be working things hot, but if you did, well, you need to know what not to touch. I work things hot all the time because I need to troubleshoot, and troubleshooting is easier with the power on. Let there be light, said the electrician. When your drill touches an energized part, all the metal on your drill becomes energized too. And if you're grounded and you touch that metal, you'll be energized too. If you look closely, you'll see my fingers touching the metal right here. We should place it right here, only on the trigger, and keep our hand away from all the metal. Did you know that dimming an LED light bulb will increase its lifespan due to the lower temperature? And actually, increased temperature will shorten the lifespan of an LED bulb. A billion things I wish my apprentice knew. Number 24, the WR rating. So this customer gave us a call saying that he smelt smoke inside his office, which is on the other side of this wall. And sure enough, it was burning. You can see the melted plastic and the charring on the wire. And it looks like they used a tamper-resistant outlet, but they did not use a weather-rated outlet. It even says, do not install in wet locations. And since we're replacing this GFCI, we're going to make sure we use weather-rated and tamper-resistant. And they should have the WR marking as well as the TR marking on each outlet. And in different models, you'll see it always has it on there. And hey, I noticed there's a lot of electricians that watch this channel, so I have a question for you. Do you prefer your bubble covers to open up and down, which requires two hands to plug something in, or left and right, which only requires one hand? 1.5 million things I wish my apprentice knew. Number 25, what basic tools an apprentice should have. Now these tools will depend on the type of electrical industry that you're in. If there's an apprentice working with me, I need them to have these basic tools. I'll have the rest. First and foremost, you'll need a pair of electrician pliers. You'll also need some wire strippers. Now, if you don't even have any of these two items, just don't show up. I highly recommend the ones with springs, and also these 632 and 832 screw cutters, but get what you can afford. You'll need a knife or a box cutter in order to cut the rubber sheathing on the Romex wire. You're also going to need a flathead screwdriver as well as a trim screwdriver. And you're going to need the Phillips head screwdriver. Some people like to buy these 11-in-1s with multiple heads, but I find that there's some light fixtures where the large head won't fit into. But it really is convenient to have a bunch of tools in one, and if you need my skinny Phillips head, you can borrow it. You're going to need a tape measure if we're roughing in a house, or running some pipe. I highly suggest you get a cordless drill with the hammer drill feature for driving anchors into brick. You're going to be drilling a lot of holes with this. Next on the list is an impact drill. Honestly, I probably use this every single day. You don't have to have it, but you can usually buy these 2 drills as a set for a pretty good price. And I highly suggest the 18 volt or 20 volt over the smaller 12 volts because these can do both the light duty and the heavy duty work. I need you to get a pen tester because I cannot follow you to every single outlet to make sure the power is off. For your own safety, you need to be checking if it's hot. Also, you really need a plug tester so you can check your outlets after you install them. Not to mention, I'll be at the panel labeling while you're walking through the house, seeing what turns on and off. And you're definitely going to need some bits because I'll be using mine. I find it very useful to have this number 1 flathead as well as the number 2. Out of the bits I use most often, it also includes this number 2 square head, as well as the 5/16 hex head. These are the 2 most common tips that you'll use to take off dead fronts and panel covers. Oh yeah, let's not forget the Phillips, but you might want to just buy a set and probably save some money. And when you're ready to start learning how to troubleshoot, make sure you get a digital meter. You're going to have to find one that's in your price range. If you're looking for something more budget friendly, this one from Testman is really affordable. Checking for continuity is something you'll do pretty often. We've got 120 at this outlet. There's even a flashlight on the back too. Apprentices, sometimes the electricians you work with are going to make fun of you if you had to purchase cheaper tools. But don't let it bother you. Just remember, they forgot what it was like to be poor. It's not the price of your tools that matters, it's the quality of your work. And thank you everyone for hanging out with me on TikTok. See you later. 1,003,045,000 things I wish my apprentice knew, number 26. What is a pigtail? This is an example of a typical box in the wall. On the left here, you have the power coming into the box through these wires, and then you have power leaving the box through these wires to connect to the next box down the line. Here we have an example of what it looks like on a receptacle outlet. So in this wiring method, there's 2 wires in total, and the 2 white wires connect to the silver screws, and the 2 black wires connect to the gold screws. Pigtailing is when we attach an extra wire from the joints and then connect it directly to the outlet. Here's an example of what that looks like. One set of wires brings the power in, the other set of wires takes the power out, and then they connect into a joint at the top, and then from there the 3rd wire goes to the screw. Here's another scenario that would need a pigtail. Say we had 2 wires originally, and then we decided to add a 3rd wire to power another outlet. Well, remember, it only has 2 screws, not 3, so the solution is pigtails. Sometimes we refer to this type of breaker as an arc fault with a pigtail, which just means it has the neutral wire instead of being a plug-on neutral. 1,000 things I wish my apprentice knew, number 27. 3 ways to wire an outlet. These are the 3 most common ways you will see outlets wired. The first way is the pigtail method, where one wire connects to the outlet from the group of wires. Here we cover the wires with a wire nut. The second way is the mechanical screw method, where the 2 sets of wires are connected directly to the device using the 2 existing screws. This limits the number of wire connections to only 2. But if you use an outlet with clamps, then you can have 2 wires under the clamp, and it would still be held down by the mechanical screw. The third way is the backstab method, also known as the push-in method. This is where number 14 solid copper is pushed into the hole in the back of the device. New home builders use it to speed up the install, and even though it is UL listed for this wiring method, most electricians do not feel it is a very dependable method. Check out this burnt up outlet. Electrical components inside an outlet can wear out over time and lead to bad connections, which can lead to arcing, which can lead to fires. 25 things I wish my apprentice knew. Number 28. The difference between a fan-rated box and non-fan rated. What the? Never sit on the customer's furniture. Now these are a few examples of non-fan rated boxes. Here we have the nail-on box, which is usually installed before the drywall goes up and a hammer just beats the nails in. This one right here is a pop-in box or old work box, which just means it usually goes in after the drywall is already up. But I believe it only has a weight limit of about 5 or 6 pounds. The only thing holding it up is the drywall. And then this one has brackets on it and allows you to slide the box to the position you need it and then screw it down tight. But none of these three are rated for holding fans. Now let's get into the fan rated boxes. This box is often referred to as a pancake box. It's just very slim and it can screw directly into the stud. It can handle up to a 70-pound ceiling fan and a 150-pound light fixture. Then this ceiling fan box has brackets on it and allows you to position the box exactly where you need it. The weight limits on this one are the same, but check out each one because they might say something different. Now this last one is top tier. It was designed to be screwed in from the inside of the box, and you know what that means? You don't have to climb into the attic.
Wow.
Now that's superior engineering. And just between you and me, at the last job interview I went to, I told the manager that I wasn't an electrician. He said, "What?" I said, "Well, but I am an electrician, but I'm not an electrician. I electrician." This fucking kid. A billion things I wish my apprentice knew. Numero 29, how to remove a backstabbed wire. Imagine you're pulling out a receptacle and the wires are so short that you need to remove the backstab to connect to the new outlet. But the two smallest screwdrivers that you have don't fit in this little slot, and this little slot is what releases the wire. See, even the trim is too big. Well, one thing that will work is a precision screwdriver, kind of like the one in the shop below. And it's rare that an electrician will ever use something this little. See, just slides right in, and you just push in while pulling out. See, pulling out is so easy. But my favorite way is to put your hip into it.
My money don't
See,
jiggle, jiggle.
you just need to work on your electrical thrust.
Wiggle, wiggle, for sure. Make you want to dribble, dribble.
Did you know on the back of the device it tells you how long to strip your wire? But a lot of times, electricians make it too long. And too long is a common problem for electricians, but the ladies like it. Now, I have a quick question for you. What if we took 2 wires and wrapped them around the screw and then pushed 2 more wires into the backstab hole? We'd have 4 hot wires total without a wire nut. And so what do you think? Is this just ludicrous? Or ducking genius? Most people don't know what it means to be grounded in electrical terms. Never ever try this.
Bruh.
Today, let's talk about the 3 most common things that trip a breaker. The first one is an overload, which basically means when you're pulling too many amps on the circuit, it causes it to trip. That's why we call it an overcurrent protection device. And current creates heat, and we don't want to melt the wires. The second reason a breaker will trip is called a short, or a short circuit, which means the current found its way to the ground, meaning the neutral. Now, a lot of electricians like to label the third option as a ground fault, but that's not true. But that's the same as a short. You know they're both tied together, right? At the first means of disconnect. For me, the third reason a breaker trips is because of phase to phase. So for example, if you have a 2-pole breaker with 2 wires on them, one is on phase A and one is on phase B. And if those wires were to touch, that would trip the breaker. Kind of like when I go to service calls for disposals and dishwashers tripping together because the homeowner tried to fix it themselves.